Welcome to T-Claude's Adventures Outdoors. I'm T-Claude, and I know you're still thinking about last week, how we showed you could ride your ATV from Homer all the way down to Cocoa Tree. But I tell you what, that thunder gets a little bit loud. My ears are still ringing, and the fumes in there, oh yeah, I tell you what, I didn't have to drink my six-pack when I got to my mama's house. Well, as you know, we like to ride all around Terrebonne Parish, discovering all the great things to do outdoors on our ATV. But some of you callers were saying, T-Claude, how you have fun in Terrebonne Parish when it's so flat? This week, we're going to show you exactly how we do it. Now, if you want to ride on a roller coaster, you don't have to go to Six Flags. You don't have to go down to Disneyland. All you have to do is hop on the back with T-Claude, build up enough speed, and you can discover our own roller coaster that we got right here in Terrebonne Parish. But we call it the Levee. Get on, here we go.
Don't ever drive your ATV or any vehicle on any levees. It's against the law. In fact, it's against the law to drive your ATV on any roadway.
During a rain event, the levees become very wet, and many people think it's fun to recreate on the levees and ride their ATVs.
As an avid hunter, I do know personally that ATVs do create ruts.
If you put a nice big rut, up onto the levee, then that could erode, that could turn into a little river. Anywhere that you put ruts, grooves, dig something out of the bank, it could cause more erosion there and make a soft spot in the levee where maybe it would breach.
We have an operating budget of approximately $3.5 million a year, and that is to maintain levees. That's to cut the grass, that's to haul dirt in to repair them after storms, that's to armor the sides of the levees to prevent the wave action from destroying the levees. So it's definitely a costly asset that we have to maintain, and the more people damage the levee, the more expensive that is. Terrebonne Parish has close to 90 miles of levees.
And we really need people to be out there paying attention. The parish itself doesn't have the staff to be out at every levee all the time. So if you're out there fishing near your house, wherever, and you see someone doing something that might cause some damage to the levee, or if you see some damage, some erosion, some pooling, some problem with the levee, please let someone know, because you can't assume that someone from the parish is going to see that too.
Unfortunately, we don't have a levee police such as the New Orleans area. They have a levee police that patrol their levees and maintain them. We don't have that here, so we rely on the public to keep an eye on those levees and make sure that everything's in place. And if there is an issue, to call the levee district or the parish and report those issues.
Terrebonne Parish doesn't give people permission to ride bicycles or hike or walk the levee systems because they could actually be on somebody else's property or in a wildlife management area.
It's extremely important for the citizens of Terrebonne Parish to join forces with law enforcement to keep a close eye on our levees in Terrebonne Parish.
Welcome back. Now, I'm gonna finally make me some time to build my little T-Claude playhouse I always promised them. Lucky me, I got this big levee in my backyard to build it on.
Just because you have a levee in your backyard doesn't mean that you can build on it or near it. Any structure in Terrebonne Parish will require a permit, so please check with the permit office to make sure that the location is outside of right-of-way or utility servitude.
Before anyone builds anything on levees, they need to check with the proper authorities, both at the parish and the levee district, to make sure that those new features that they're building or planting don't interfere with the maintenance of the levees.
We have these rules and regulations in place to protect the levee, the vegetation, and anyone building a structure or anything across a levee that would stop us from doing any maintenance. Adds to the cost of the maintenance.
Levees are highly engineered forms of construction. On the outside, it may just have the appearance of dirt and grass, but there's a lot going on underneath that.
There are some portions of our levee systems that are armored with riprap, and we plant vegetation within the riprap, and it overgrows it. It protects it from wave action in the areas where we have a lot of wave action.
And if you place a structure and you're digging around that, you may unknowingly lessen the structural integrity of that levee.
Even for the use next to the levee in that right-of-way, you'd even want to check about planting yourself a garden, planting something that changes the characteristics of that land, where you might bring water in or otherwise change the uses of that land.
Terrebonne Parish has a vegetation program called a Bermuda Release, which plants and maintains vegetation on our levees. By tilling up the grass that's there, which is part of the Bermuda program, they're breaking up that soil and creating an erosion problem.
People like to build bridges. to access the back half of their property for hunting and fishing and other recreational type activities. That's an issue we have to deal with as well.
If a resident would want to access their property on the other side, they can apply for a letter of no objection with the Public Works Department and also a permit.
We have an ordinance against livestock on levees. We do notify the landowner if we do see there's livestock on the levee. We try to go and corral them and get the livestock off the levee. If there's a storm coming, for example, people tend to let their cattle on high ground to save them from possibly getting flooded.
Other parishes in Louisiana have bonfires and celebrations on their levees, but please don't do that in Terrebonne Parish. The levees are just too important for our public safety.
If you live next to or near a levee, please secure all of your outside materials so that they don't become debris during a storm.
Ice chests, swimming pools, kid toys, basketballs flow down these arteries and plug up the outfalls, causing water to back up into the subdivisions. A basketball fits perfect inside of a culvert, so it becomes an instant plug.
If you're a boat owner, you should take the responsibility to make sure that your boat is brought into safe harbor so that it doesn't float over the levee and go into somebody's home. And barge companies should do the same thing and move their barges and their equipment to safe harbor and make sure that it doesn't cause additional damage during a storm. Now that we have all these control structures in place that we haven't had in the past, it's important that if people see other people on top of those structures to call the law enforcement and say, hey, there's people on these structures, because they shouldn't be there.
Pumping stations are near levees, and they're located throughout Terrebonne Parish. There's a history of damage. Individuals would steal equipment off the pumping station, such as backup batteries.
Terrebonne Parish government has many miles of interim levees controlling water levels on the residential side, keeping it lower than the external side of the levee systems. We have 72 pumping stations to maintain these water levels.
We can have a storm event pop up in the Gulf at any time. And if somebody's vandalized control structures and made it inoperable, that's going to put a lot of people's homes in danger of flooding.
If there is a storm coming and there's a mandatory evacuation given, you need to follow that order and evacuate and leave the levee system to do what it is meant to do, which is to help protect your property.
We didn't even wait for the declaration to come. Once we found out, we started working immediately because we knew that it didn't make any difference. We had to do something to protect our people.
Well, it looks like we dodged another one, Bill. Those improvements to the levee sure seem to have paid off.
We now have an app called Terrebonne Floodgate Mate, and you can put your cell phone number in and receive text messages. It will notify you of any potential floodgate closures, levee safety issues, storm warnings, weather channel updates. You can also submit a tip to the levee district or the parish should you see any issue with floodgates or levees. If you don't have a smartphone, you can visit our website at www.tlcd.org. Levees are part of our life here. We'll always be updating and maintaining our levees.
Today, even T-Claude learned a little something new. Them levees are actually here for something, and that's to keep you and me and little T from being washed away in the sea. So we gotta all make sure to protect our levees so the levees can protect us. I love the levees, me. Aye!